Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 6. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
And I'm Whitney Ward. Our top story tonight is that we begin with another increase of new coronavirus cases across Spokane County. Not as much of an increase as we've seen for the last several days, but still an increase. The real takeaway, though, tonight is that doctors believe the actual numbers of infections out in our community may be much, much higher. So let's take a look. 37 new cases in the last 24 hours. Still better, though, than the 81 we saw yesterday. Currently, 19 people from Spokane County are in the hospital. Now, it's important to understand, again, that these numbers are not the entire story. Spokane Regional Health has been telling us that the confirmed number of cases right now in our community is about 1,400, although doctors suspect the actual number of infections could be 10 to 12 times higher than that. So we're talking 14,000 potential infections here. And they say that is absolutely due to the fact that people are not wearing their masks. Many of these people do not have symptoms, so they don't even realize that they're sick, but many of them still getting together with friends or coworkers. And they say that is absolutely what is driving the new infections here in our community tonight.
When we're talking about COVID, that's the challenge. There's a huge amount of people that have very minimal symptoms, and we're in the midst of, a summer, so there's pollen in the air, seasonal allergies. It's very easy to attribute symptoms of COVID if you're very healthy to having too much pollen in the air and not take appropriate precautions and accidentally infect another person.
Let's be honest, it's the people who are not necessarily in those businesses or restaurants. It's the people who are getting together for backyard barbecues. It's the people who are getting together for large backyard parties, and they're not following the guidance. Pure and simple.
So it is important, it is critical to remember that guidance as we head into this 4th of July holiday weekend. Both Providence and Multicare say they do have plenty of bed capacity right now, as well as ventilators. What they're more concerned about is staffing. They're already making plans at Providence, for example, to bring in traveling healthcare providers just to keep up with demand. And in North Idaho, Panhandle Health reporting 26 new cases of coronavirus today. So far, no new deaths reported. Currently, one person is hospitalized. These new numbers, though, come as hundreds of people continue to wait in extremely long lines just to get tested at the only testing site in North Idaho.
The reason for the extreme lines that we're experiencing is we've seen a significant uptick in the number of people who have had contact with someone who has COVID-19.
So Kootenai Health attributed the increase to more social contact, relaxing guidelines, and not enough people wearing masks. And since you do need a doctor's order to get tested in Idaho, the Panhandle Health District says calls to their hotline are also surging. 90% of those who are calling are being referred to get tested. Panhandle Health says one of the things they're also noticing is people wanting to get tested too soon after a possible exposure. They say you should actually wait at least 4 days after. Otherwise, your test may come back negative. And starting tomorrow, people in Moscow will also be required to wear a mask, even though the rest of the state of Idaho does not have that mandate. This comes after a number of new coronavirus cases in Latah County. That number actually doubled over the last week. Also, an employee at a local restaurant has tested positive. So again, that mask mandate is in Moscow. The mayor there issued that emergency order this week, requiring people to wear a mask both indoors and public settings as well as outdoors where social distancing is not possible. Now, according to that order, anyone who knowingly violates it could be guilty of a misdemeanor. Now, yes, there are exceptions to the rule. The mayor says the order wasn't prompted by concerns of people coming into the city from Pullman. He talked with our Taylor Vito about why the city issued this order and how it will be enforced.
I guess,
yes.
what was the decision process like into deciding to do that mask order?
We went from having 7, we had 7 and maybe we thought 8, we're up to 15 now. It looks like 16 with a probable another 5 in a short period of about 10 days. So we've doubled what we did in 3 months. And so that's of a concern for us. But even though the number doesn't sound like a whole lot, what we don't want to do, we're a small town. We cannot overwhelm our medical systems. We just need to go on with this and do the things that we need to do to make things right. What I don't want to do is close a bunch of our businesses down.
What's the enforcement aspect going to look like from police side of things?
Well, the first several days, we've got to talk to people. We got to educate folks. There's some folks out there that do not think it can be enforced, and of course it can. We don't want to give anybody tickets. We just soon have people wearing masks. And oh, by the way, I don't particularly like wearing a mask, but I do.
Mayor Lambert says Latah County's increased numbers also are not the result of increased testing. Moscow's order requiring masks appears to be the only order of its kind in North Idaho for now. No mayors in Idaho's other 5 northern counties have issued a similar order. It lasts just 1 week, again, for now. Next Monday, Moscow City Council will vote on whether it should be extended.
Spokane County is allocating $10 million to fund a grant that supports small and nonprofit businesses. The money is coming from the CARES Act. The grant is intended to help offset safety and operating costs, such as rent and personal protective equipment. It is intended to help businesses reopen and make sure that they can stay open safely. Small businesses and nonprofits can apply for the $10,000 grant. Those businesses need to have 20 or fewer employees. The application for the grant is still being finalized. It's expected that businesses and nonprofits can begin to apply for the grant coming up in mid-July. We'll keep you posted on that one. All right, let's talk weather for a moment. The calendar says July 1st, but it felt more like April today. The high only made it up to 66 degrees. Let's get out to Chief Meteorologist Tom Sherry in the Outdoor Weather Center. And Tom, things are going to start warming up soon, I hear.
Yeah, they're going to start warming up soon, but at 5 o'clock, I told you that it was going to start raining in Spokane around 6 o'clock. And time. It is raining. And for you folks at home that have said, I wonder if that weatherman is smart enough to come in outside of the rain. Well, I think you got your answer right here. It is raining. Let's go to the radar. You can see I'll even get a closer view because we'll talk about what we've got going on as far. There's the rain that we're talking about right there. And it looks like it's going to continue to move through our area. We're going to look for temperatures to most likely climb into the low 50s tonight. Then we'll look for highs tomorrow, expected to climb probably up to about 71 degrees under partly cloudy skies. So all in all, we've got warmer weather on the way, 71 expected for tomorrow, and we'll see temperatures, and we're at 62 right now, again, with those rain showers out there. Keep in mind, we expect temperatures, as I said before, to climb up to about 71 degrees tomorrow. Should get into the low 80s by the weekend. There you go. There's your overnight low expected of 50 degrees and then 71 tomorrow. I've got 80 degrees on tap for Saturday, 4th of July, sunny on Sunday again, and a high of 80. I'll check your 10-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
80 degrees sounds about perfect, Tom. Looking forward to that. Thank you, sir. Okay, for the first time, we are hearing from some of the search and rescue volunteers who found a missing Idaho man. Yesterday, crews found 37-year-old Joel Brown alive in a ravine in the Fernand Saddle area. KREM 2's Taylor Bido has more on how searchers were able to find him.
It's an immediate, yay-hoo. Yeah, it's great.
It was a great relief and just a delight. I mean, I was thrilled.
A feeling that reminds local search and rescue volunteers of their purpose. It was on Tuesday when members of the Kootenai County Sheriff's volunteer search and rescue team were out looking for Joel Brown. The North Idaho man's car was found last Friday near the Fernand Saddle, a rugged wilderness area east of Coeur d'Alene. Brown hadn't been seen for several days, and people who knew him called authorities. But despite a grim outlook, authorities weren't ready to throw in the towel.
Thoughts go through your mind about, okay, first of all, is he even down this canyon? Who'd ever would come down this canyon, right? And then you find a clue. He really was coming down this canyon.
Using those indicators Brown left behind, searchers made marks on a map and then thought out where Brown was likely headed. That led authorities down a steep drainage where Fernand Creek is located.
Very thick, very, very steep terrain, and fortunately it was all going downhill. But it was very treacherous too.
Brown eventually overheard two searchers coordinating with each other and was able to make contact with them. Authorities are still looking into how and why the man got lost in the first place, but search and rescue volunteers pointed out that during their efforts, they had to watch their own fatigue too.
We have to take care of ourselves. We have to be careful that we don't become a problem.
From a budget standpoint, the searchers say having volunteers is crucial, and their strength can come in numbers when working against the clock.
It is a constant battle, in a way, to keep focused and keep positive, because you never know when or where someone's going to be.
Brown has since been discharged from Kootenai Health. His family asked for privacy today, but on an online fundraiser, they said Brown did not have any broken bones. In North Idaho, Taylor Vito, KREM 2 News.